All right, so quiz number 3 review. We're going to start off with the main question. This is going to be question number 1 for you guys on your quiz. When do we switch the signs of an inequality? Whenever you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number. Okay, so I'm going to put right here, when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number. Okay, so when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, that's when you have to switch the inequality. Okay? So you don't have to do any work on that problem when you guys see that on your quiz tomorrow. Just write it out. It doesn't have to be stated exactly like this, but as long as you mention that you multiply or divide by a negative on both sides. Okay? That's what we're looking for. Now after this, I have I think it's 5 examples, that basically covers the whole quiz. I think your quiz has 12 questions, it's something like that, I can't remember. But most of them are just solving and graphing. Okay, so you're going to solve, then you're going to draw a picture. You're going to solve, then you're going to draw a picture. I think the quiz already has the graphs for you. You just have to kind of do the drawings of the line. Okay, so here we go. First one, solving and graphing. So there are some that are a little bit on the easier side. There's some that are even easier than this, but I don't want to do like super easy ones. If you want to look at easier ones, look at your homework. There's stuff there, okay? I'll start off with some medium and then go to some that look a little more difficult, okay? The easy stuff, there's a lot of stuff on the homework from there, so you can always check that stuff out. So for the first one, we have 50 less than 10 times the quantity of 2x plus 3. So we are going to want to distribute first, okay? So let's do the distribution on this really quickly. So this is 50 less than 20x plus 30. And then you got to isolate your x value, so we are going to want to move the 20 and the 30 out of there, but we'll start off with the 30, so let's subtract it on both sides. So that's going to give me a 20 less than 20x. And at this point, we are at the very last step, so we are going to have to just divide, right? So if we divide both sides by 20, by positive 20, which means I don't have to switch the inequality, I get 1 is less than x. Okay? So I'm going to draw a number line really quick. Nothing too big. 1 is here, 2 is here, 0 is there. Just a small one. Okay? My answer is at 1. So at 1, I'm going to draw a circle. Okay? The circle is going to be empty because it's a less than symbol, not less than or equal to. Okay? So it's going to be an empty circle. Which direction should I go, left or right? It looks like I should be going left, but the letter is on the opposite side, right? So I should be going right over to my right side, okay? I should be going right. So this is what I'm talking about. Normally, the letter is supposed to be over here on this side. And if the letter's on the left side, then you follow the arrow. But for us, the letter's on the right side, okay? The opposite side. So if it's on the opposite side, you'd go the opposite way. All right? Opposite side, opposite way. Okay? So it does show left, so you go right. Okay? Because the x is on the opposite side. Okay? So there's your first answer, 1 less than x, and then there's a picture there. Okay? Any questions on that one? So just pay attention to where the letter is, because it's important. If it's on the left side, then follow the arrow. If it's on the right side, you got to go the opposite way. All right, so here's another one. Now this one looks a lot more complicated, right? There will be a question very similar to this on your quiz, and some that are maybe a little bit shorter, but still have a lot of stuff in it. Okay, so This is negative 2k plus 27 is greater than or equal to negative 3 times the quantity of negative 3 minus 4k, and then a plus 4 at the very end. So just like we did in the other problem, you're going to want to distribute, okay? Distribute this stuff out so that we can kind of get rid of the parentheses. So let's do that really quick. Negative 2k plus 27 greater than or equal to 9 plus 12k plus 4. Now I noticed that 9 plus 4 can be added together. That's going to give me a 13. So let me fix that really quick. Negative 2k plus 27 greater than or equal to 13 plus 12k. Now at this point, we got to get our numbers together. We got to get our variables together. Again, if you're like me, you always move the variable with the smallest coefficient. So the smallest coefficient is negative 2k. So I'm going to add that to both sides. In doing that, you're going to notice my variable is going to be on the right side, right? Over on the right side, so the opposite side, which means my answer is going to go the opposite way. If you move the 12k to the left, then you follow the arrow. It depends how you want to do it. Again, this is just my preference. I prefer to keep things in the positive. So this is 27 greater than or equal to 13 plus 14k. Now we'll subtract 13 on both sides. That gives me a 14 greater than or equal to 14k. And then I'm going to divide, right? That's my last step. Again, I'm dividing by a positive number, so I don't have to switch anything. So that gives me a 1 greater than or equal to k. I didn't know I was going to get the same answer as the one before. Well, not the same, but at least the same number, a 1. I didn't expect that, but there you go. So again, we'll draw a small graph here. Here's 1, 2, and 0. My answer is a 1. So at 1, I'm going to draw a circle. That's going to be solid this time, okay, because that says greater than or equal to. So a nice solid circle. Which direction should I go? I got to go left, right? Because the k is on the opposite side, so I got to go the opposite way. So I got to go left. All right. Any questions on that one? So this is considered a tough problem, okay, for the test. If you don't think it's that hard, then good, because that means that most of the problems on your test are going to be easy, okay? But that would be like a confusing one because there's so much stuff going on. You're adding, subtracting, multiplying, all that stuff. So. All right. So from here, we move on to the compound inequalities. Again, remember, we're only doing 2 sections. So if it seems like we're not recovering a lot of different things, it's because there wasn't a lot of things that we covered, right? We covered how to solve an inequality, and then we covered how to solve 2 at once, right? So that's what we're jumping over to right now. We're going to do one OR problem because the OR problems can only occur one way. They say OR. And then we're going to do 2 AND problems because it could either say AND or they can be kind of shoved together into one long inequality. So we'll do 2 of those. That way you can see one of each, and then you kind of see everything that's on your quiz, right? So here's the first one. It's an OR problem. I did this one on purpose because a lot of people on the quiz, and I'm actually going to pass that out to you guys today, but a lot of people on the quiz, they didn't know how to do those. They were freaking out. So I want to just remind you what to do with those. So first off, let's go ahead and start with the left side. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So that's x greater than or equal to a negative 2. So there you go. What do I do for the right side? Multiply. Yeah, I want to multiply. A lot of people, they added, they subtracted. Remember, the 5 is dividing. Okay, so the 5 is dividing. You got to multiply. So this is going to be x less than negative 5. Okay, so all right, we're done. Let's go ahead and graph it. Now, since this is an OR problem, you're looking for opposite directions, right? They should be going opposite directions. So hopefully that's what occurs here. try that again. So a -2 and a -5. So let me put a -6, -5, -4, -3. I'm just trying to fit the answers in there. Okay, start with the first one. X is greater than -2. By the way, if you want to be lazy, you can do this. I totally am okay with this. If you just do that, I'm fine with it. As long as you label them right? -5 should be towards the left, -2 should be more towards the right. I'm okay with that. So you don't have to draw all the numbers. I'm just trying to make it look a little nicer. But x greater than or equal to -2. So I'm going to go to -2 and put a solid dot. And since x is on the left side, that means I get to follow the direction of the arrow. The arrow is pointing to the right, so I'm going right. My next answer is x is less than -5. Less than is an open circle at -5. And since x is on the left side, the inequality is pointing to the left, so I'm going to go left. And that makes sense because ORs are opposite from each other, right? They go in opposite directions. So I'm okay with that. I feel confident that I hopefully did this right. At least the answer makes sense graphically. I don't think I did anything wrong with the calculation, so I feel pretty confident. All right, so there's number 3. So now we're going to do 2 AND problems, okay, number 4 and number 5. So the first AND problem is going to be one where everything's kind of connected together. Now remember, the way we do these is we work from the center out, okay? We're going to work from the middle out. So whatever we do in the middle, we're going to apply it to the left side and the right side. Now we're trying to solve for n, for 3n minus 2. So what we want to do is we want to move the -2 first, and then we'll divide by 3 later, okay? So in order to get rid of the -2 in the middle, we're going to add it, okay? But not just to the left side, we're going to add it to the left and to the right. So let's do that to both sides here. So this comes out to -12 less than 3n less than or equal to 0. Now, I did this problem on purpose too, because for some reason people don't like to do this on quizzes. People miss this on your quiz. Like 0 divided by 8 was one of the problems, and people left it as 8, or they didn't even answer it. Like they didn't know what to do. If you have nothing and I tell you to divide it into 8 pieces, but you have nothing, how much can you cut nothing into 8 pieces? You can cut it 8 times, but they're all going to be nothing, right? 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. Okay, well, for the purposes of any math below calculus, because we can divide by 0 in calculus, but that's something called limits, and it's a whole different thing. Oops. But in algebra, yeah, you cannot divide by 0. But you can get 0 and divide it by stuff, other things. So here I'm going to divide things by 3. I get -4 less than n less than or equal to 0. Now if I cut this up into 2 different answers, here they are. Whoops. Did not choose. There you go. Here's one of the answers. And then the other answer is going to be right here. So let me just write them out, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw it. -4 less than n, and n less than or equal to 0. Those are the 2 solutions, okay? So let's draw. I got to include -4 and 0, so I'm just going to go by 2s. -6, -4, -2, 0, and 2. Again, if you want to do it the lazy way, you could just do a line, put a -4 here, a 0 here, and I'm good with that. As long as the numbers are in the right order, right? I should be okay with that. Again, on your quiz, they'll be pre-drawn for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So the first one says -4 is less than n. So less than is an empty circle at -4. Which direction? I should go right, because the n is on the opposite side, so I got to go the opposite way. So I got to go right. All right, next problem. Remember, this is an and problem, so I usually use different colors. I'm going to go to 0. It says less than or equal to, so that's a solid dot. Okay? And since n is on the left, that means I can go the normal direction, so that's going to be going left. Okay? Now, with ands, we're looking for where they have common ground, right? So the common solutions are right here. Those are my common answers. That's where one and the other have answers, right there. Okay? So my final solution looks like this. Okay, this is my answer. Again, you don't have to draw all that stuff for me if you don't want to. I'm showing you the build-up as to how you can kind of color it in and do it visually so you can see what your solution is supposed to be. Some people tell me, well, Mr. V, I can obviously tell that's my answer because look at what it looks like right here. It says that the answer is between -4 and 0. Yeah, it does. So if you just draw that, which is exactly what I drew, you're done. That's the faster way, right? But again, not everybody sees that. So I like to kind of go the visual way with it. Okay? If you can do it faster, go for it. I'm not going to get mad at you. Okay? It's always good that you can do things a little different than the step by step, right? The more you practice, the faster you get at things. And I think that's the whole point of teachers always telling you guys to review your math, go over the homework, practice it, do it again. The more you get used to doing the work, the more it makes sense. Shortcuts, you start to find shortcuts and stuff because you've been practicing and practicing. All right, so this is the last example here. It is an and problem again, but this time it does actually say and. It's not a connected problem. But we're basically just going to do what we've been doing with all the other problems. It's just going through solving and then graphing it. So let's go ahead and start with the left-hand side. Okay, -10 plus 5x less than -25. I am going to have to kind of move things around. So I'm going to add the 10 to both sides. Let me change the color here. So adding 10 to both sides. So that's 5x less than -15. Okay. Last step, divide by 5. No need to switch the signs because I'm dividing by a positive number. So x is less than -5. All right, good. Got one answer. Now let's work on the other one. So for the other one, I'm going to have to get 9 minus 7x less than 37. I got to solve for x, so I'm going to get the 9 and subtract it to both sides. So minus 9. So I get -7x less than 28. Yeah, 28 is right. And then I'm going to divide both sides by -7. So 28 goes into -7 -4 times, right?
The first one is -3 or -1?
Oh, thank you. One second. I just want to make a mark here. Thank you for that. Was it this class? Yeah, it was this class, right? I made a mistake yesterday, right? Yeah, which reminds me, I still got to give you your credit. But yeah, catch me on mistakes. Point it out. I don't get mad, okay? Don't worry. And I don't deny it. I might play around with it and just see. But yeah, I definitely. Oh wait, I got distracted. It should change, right? Should change direction. Can't be giving out too much extra credit. Jeez, I gotta fix my stuff. Yeah, I do make mistakes. Don't feel bad. I think it's good when a teacher makes mistakes. I'm not doing them on purpose, by the way.
Change the direction because it's a negative?
Yeah, I divided both sides by -7s, right? Not just because the answer was negative, but because I divided both sides by -7. Yeah, it humanizes the teacher sometimes to kids. They can see mistakes are okay. It's normal. So, all right, here we go. two different answers, -3, -4. They're both close to each other, so that's kind of nice. I don't have to make a really big graph here. So I'll put a -5, -4, -3, -2, and -1. One of the answers is -3. It's less than, so it's going to be an open circle. And since x is on the left side, I get to follow the arrow, so I go to the left. The next answer is x greater than -4, so I'm going to go to -4 with an empty circle. X is on the left side, which means I can follow the arrow, which is pointing to the right. Since this is an AND problem, I get to figure out what they have in common, and it's a little bit, but it's right there. A little bit in common, just one whole unit. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my answer. Should look like this. Okay, this is my answer to that problem. And that's it. And this is what your quiz is. I don't expect your quiz to be like a 50-minute test, but obviously we all work at different paces. So, just work at your own pace.